Welcome to Mobile Tuitions. Yes, so this is one of the batch that we use to make presentations. Yeah, so if you register with us, then you can secure a place either online or offline depending on your preferences. Yeah, so we have a number of topics that we can look at in all the courses as well as subject, but for this one, it's just mathematics. And today, I just want you to I want to take you through the introductory topics or the topic to introduction to mathematics, and we are going to be looking at basics of arithmetics. So I think in the previous past, I did make a presentation via Facebook on the page where I submitted this video, but I think I'll just need to re-record because we are now have joined YouTube, so you can access our discussions, our presentations in whatever free package that we present under Mobile Tuitions on that YouTube page. Yeah, so that's why you can follow and see if you can find something relevant to your preferences. Yeah, so today, this afternoon, I just want to take you through basics of arithmetics or basic arithmetics. And in this introductory unit, we'll be looking at numbers. Yeah, I've always said a lot of people do not do well in mathematics, not because they are not intelligent, but they, on most occasions, missed the foundation to mathematics, which is what we'll be discussing. So you find that most of the question, even major questions on major topics that we bump into in mathematics are connected to the basics, or your answer will be required to be presented in basic figures. Yeah, so it is important always that you have the good foundation in mathematics, and Mobile Tuition has come to be that help in all your studies. So we claim to be a companion, or we pride ourselves to be a companion in all our studies. So be it academic studies or even your personal resolutions or even your studies, Mobile Tuitions can be called upon, and we are going to arrange a tutor right at your place of your choice. Yes, and we try by all means to be as flexible as possible and as affordable as possible so that you, our esteemed clients could access the services, more so that we are living under the new normal, the so-called new normal, but I don't see the normal in it. Yeah, so I wonder why people call it the new normal, but we just need to accept that fact that the world is ever changing, and yes, we just have to adjust to the conditions which we are now experiencing. So on this introductory free package, as I've said, we are going to look at numbers, and we are under numbers, we're going to look at integers. I think these are terms that a lot of us have come across. So integers are going to be defined and discussed, more so with an example or examples. We are also going to look at natural numbers. We're going to look at whole numbers, even numbers. We'll look at odd numbers, prime numbers. As you can see on the screen, we are also going to look at rational numbers as well as irrational numbers. Yeah, so just follow us on our YouTube, and please do like or unlike depending on your preferences. So if you think this can be of help to you, if you are a student or someone that is just interested to know more on each respective topic, could be mathematics or whatever subject under discussion, you can do follow us or even subscribe, and you can also be able to comment, yeah, even like the page or not. Yeah, so that is what we'll be looking at this introductory free package. I think we are going to have 1 or 2, if possible even 3 free packages in mathematics. Then from there, you are also going to have one free package in project management. So the presentation will ever be changing. So all you need to do is be specific or follow through the page to find what can be of relevance to you or your loved ones. Yes. So what are integers? Yes, what are integers? So according to the definition that is even here highlighted in this batch, is that integers are numbers which are not fractions. You only understand if you know the difference between fractions and all the other types of numbers, like decimals. Decimals are numbers, but they are not fractions. So any number which is not a fraction, be it positive or negative, is referred to as integer. Yes, so those are integers, and as you can see, those are the examples that we have, starting from -4 running through 0 to +4. So those are examples of integers, and these integers are denoted by the symbol z. Yeah, so that is the symbol that you use. You know, on most occasion in mathematics, you could be asked to denote a set of integers. So if you are writing down the set of integers, you need to use that symbol you can see. Yeah, so that is all. There's nothing much about integers, so that is all you need to do is know the definition. You can come up with your own definition, but it should be something that is close to that. You should also know the symbol you need to use, and you need to also show the demonstration or give an example of what these integers are. So from integers, we go to natural numbers. So what are natural numbers? So according to the definition we have here, or something that you can come across from other books, integers will be defined not far from as positive integers. So, you know, we have started constructing a house already, or we have started constructing mathematics. So the definition of natural numbers, we have borrowed the term integers. So natural numbers are defined as a positive integers. So that require you to know integers. If you don't know integers and I tell you to say natural numbers are positive integers, you cannot have a mental image or know what we are referring to. So if you know the integers, then we tell you to say natural numbers are positive integers, then you can have a mental image of what these are, because I have in this presentation given you the examples of integers. So example of integers, as we've said, they are positive, start from 1 and on and on. Yeah, so those are infinite numbers. Starting from 1, you can write as many integers or natural numbers as possible. So depending on the question, on most occasion, you are given a limit. So I can ask you to say, list down a set of natural numbers starting from 10 to maybe 100. So that I've given a limit on where you need to start and where you need to end. Yeah, so just as integers have got a symbol you can use to denote them, or even write a set of them, even natural numbers do so. So for natural numbers, you use the capital letter N. So that is a symbol you use. So we move far from away from natural numbers. We go to what are called whole numbers. So what are these whole numbers? So as the term highlight, if you've come across to the term whole, yeah, you understand what that actually might mean. So here they are defined as the numbers or natural numbers with a 0 inclusive. So that also is something we are trying to build. We have borrowed the term natural numbers in defining whole numbers. So when you have natural numbers, that means positive integers, and you include a 0, that now they change from being natural numbers to whole numbers. So whole numbers, in short, are a set of numbers starting from 0 and on and on. Okay, yeah, so we move far from that. We go to what are called even numbers. Even numbers. Be careful to master all this, because you might need it at a particular time. So these even numbers are defined as integers which can be divided by 2 without a remainder. So it continues to say any integer which ends with 0, 2, 4, 6, 8 must be even. So that is what you need to look at, out for when you are considering even numbers. Long the number is a number and it's ending with 0, 2, 4, 6, and 8, it must be even. So the clue here is that the even number, if you divide it by 2, shouldn't leave a remainder. If it does so, then that is an odd number, which even is the following types of number that we need to look at. Yeah, so I can discuss these two types of numbers just together so that we can see the difference. So a number that you divide by 2 and leaves a remainder as not even is odd. Yeah, so that number, just as even numbers could end up with some certain kind of numbers, odd numbers also ends with 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. So when the number ends with those numbers, then that number must be odd. Hope the things are clear. Yeah, so let's continue our discussion by looking at prime numbers. So what are prime numbers? So prime numbers are defined as a number with 2 factors, just 2 factors, 1 and itself. But here they are defined as numbers which can only be divided by 1 and themselves. That's one and the same thing. The definition is the same. So all you can say is a prime number is a number with 2 factors, 1 and itself. So those are just factors you need to look out for when you are trying to determine if a number is prime or not. So long a number's got less than 2 or more than 2 factors, then that ceases to be a prime number. That is actually disqualified. Yeah, so there are even examples of prime numbers that have been listed here. So the first one is 2, then you go to 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, and so on and so forth. So when you consider those numbers, you come to discover that these numbers only has or have 2 factors, 1 and themselves. So for example, 11 only has 2 factors, only 1 can go unto 11. That is what we mean by factor. So a factor is a number which can go unto a number or another number. So 11 are just 2 factors, 1 can go unto 11 and 11 can go unto itself. Yeah, so that is what we are looking at, a number that can go unto a certain number. Let's move away from or let me just get a highlight or maybe make a note here as emphasis is made there. A comment is that you need to know that there is an infinity number of prime numbers. So that means you can continue highlighting prime numbers. You can continue noting down the prime numbers. So they do not have a limit. They continue and continue. Yeah. So there is another comment which says 1 is not a prime number. Why? So you need to answer that question. So the most probable answer of 1 not being a prime number is because 1 only has 1 factor, which is just itself. It doesn't have a number that can go onto it. Then 2 also is only even prime number. So for all the numbers that are even and prime, 2 is just that number. So you also need to master that, so that if a child, for example, if you are a grown-up person, makes a comment, and if you are a child, you are asked, you are able to give a response to that. So take note. We continue our discussion, and here we are going to be looking at rational numbers. Rational numbers. So here they are defined as numbers which can be written in a form of a fraction, a over b, where a and b are integers. We've borrowed the term integers, which I believe you've now known or you know. So it is the numbers which can be written in a form of a fraction, a over b, where a and b are integers, and b is not 0. So what we mean here is that a and b is an integer. That means it can either be positive or negative number, or it can be a 0. But for b, specifically we've said the b shouldn't be a 0. Yeah, so examples of prime numbers is, for example, 2.5. Yeah, 2.5 is one of the examples that we've seen here. So you can write negative 2.5 in a form of a fraction, and that is actually negative 5 over 2. That is a fraction. Then there are numbers which you cannot write as fraction, and if you do, yeah, actually these numbers start to write them in a form of a fraction, and they have been referred to as irrational numbers. So that is a definition. So irrational numbers are numbers which are not rational and so cannot be written in a form of a fraction a over b like it was done with irrational numbers. So one example of irrational numbers is the square root of 2. That is even shown there. So you cannot write the square root of 2 in a form of a fraction. It's something that is impossible. Yeah, so take note of the definition, because this is where mathematics is born from, and actually we are just going to be building up on this. So let's continue the discussion by even looking at one special term on numbers, which is called real numbers, and that is where even the term or the real number line, so-called, comes from. So that real number line comes from these real numbers. Yeah, so what are real numbers? So real numbers are defined as a set of real numbers. Let me say they are a set of numbers made up of rational as well as irrational numbers. So when you combine those numbers, you can write in a form of a fraction, a over b, together with those numbers that you cannot write in a form of a fraction. You make a set of real numbers, and the symbol you use for real numbers is R, the big R. Yeah, so that is on the basics to arithmetic, but I wanted to add on that so that in the next discussion we can pick it up and start looking at operation on real numbers. So let me just close this discussion by looking at what are called significant figures. So what are significant figures? Symbolized by small letters S, F. Yeah, so significant figures indicate the accuracy of numbers. So when you're trying to indicate the accuracy of numbers, you use significant figures, or SF. Yeah, so the terms or the condition that you need to follow on this one are that for n number, the first significant figure is the first non-zero digit. So if you are considering the accuracy of the number, concentrate on the first non-zero digit. And after that, in the case of a whole number or numbers, all digits are counted as significant. Yeah, up to the last non-zero digit. So in case of a whole number, all digits are counted as significant up to the last non-zero digit. Then in case the number you are considering is a decimal, all digits are counted as significant. Yeah, so all numbers are counted as significant. So that is just the free package on the basics to arithmetics, or as I get to introduce mathematics. Yeah, so do so by following the page. You can get help on our free lessons on various subjects and courses, and you can also make an inquiry, and you can get in touch with us to find out about our services. Remember, mobile tuitions, we are here to provide the kind of tuitions that you've never seen in the past. And now is not a time where you need to feel isolated, where you do not have a friend to talk to in terms of academic studies. But with us, you can secure a tutor or an expert that can help you to have it easy with your studies. So for those that are going to follow the page, let me say thank you. And please do so like our page on Facebook, because that's where much of the links will be posted for whatever we present on that YouTube. So thank you, and I'll meet you in the evening when I'll be looking at operations on real numbers. So soon again, let me mention to say I'll start going live. I'll advise you on what platform. Yeah, on what platform. But for many of you, you can be following me on podcast. Yeah, so I'll be having a live discussion on podcast, and you can have them delivered. Okay, let me say the links will be delivered to our Facebook page, and when you click that, you can follow the discussion, and that discussion is going to have, yeah, it's going to have a comment tab or comment box where you can even ask a question, and that question will be responded to just then or later. So thank you.